deathly silence. The air is stale and putrid.
It's close. Have the stones ready.
Your blood slows. Your senses strung so tight they could snap in an instant.
You think you know why you are here. You think that by killing the Chosen and taking the Netherstones, you can destroy me. You are wrong.
It's messing with your mind. Don't listen to it. Use the stones.
By eliminating Ketheric, Orin, and Gortash, you have simply unbound me. Exactly as I intended. The crown is now mine to command. Mine alone.
Don't listen to it. Focus on the crown.
It is what made me what I am. I needed the crown to build an army. I needed the Chosen to bring it to me. They would not have surrendered it freely, so I gave them what they wanted. Power. Just enough that they would play their part in my design. Their part has ended. The next orders will be mine.
I won't allow it. Again, dominate it.
Your role to play, too. Who do you think told the Chosen about the Astral Prism? Who do you think planted the knowledge of Orpheus's power and the fear of what it could do? When the Chosen sent my thralls to retrieve the prism, who do you think let the Emperor slip its leash, knowing it would be the one to bring you to me?
Were you a part of its plan?
I only needed one Netherstone loosened from the Chosen's grasp to guarantee my freedom. You brought all three back to me. In doing so, you have liberated me. This was your role, and it is complete. Now you will witness the grand design.
We need to put a stop to this now!
not over. You out just in time. The situation is worse than I thought. This is an elder brain, no longer. The magic of the crown has caused it to evolve. It has become something more. Another brain. I thought so too, but that was when I believed it was still an elder brain. It has been anticipating our every move from the start. I underestimated it. We will need to rethink our plan. have assessed our encounter with the Netherbrain from every angle. I know why we failed. The problem was not the stones. The problem was you. You can make only one move at a time, but the Netherbrain calculates every possible move at once. It knows what you will do. It knows everything you could possibly do. You cannot outmaneuver it. To defeat it, you would have to think like an Elithid. Better yet, be one. Your mind is not capable of this. Mine is. You will give the stones to me. I will assimilate Orpheus, and then I will be able to leave this prison to face the brain.
This fella and his ultimatums. But he's forgetting one thing. We could become Illithid. I mean, I could. You could trust me to do what needs to be done.
You still don't trust me. After all we've been through, remember, I have been your salvation from the very beginning. Your knight in shining armor. I freed you from the Nautiloid, prevented you from crashing to your death. I have protected you ever since, at no small cost to myself. I came to you as a leader, but I did not shy away from showing you vulnerability. I needed you as much as you needed me. I was not above recognizing this. When you discovered my true identity, I did not flinch from the truth. I never lied to you, not once. I am just like you. We have the same enemy, the same story. I encouraged you to fulfill your potential, all while protecting you from harm. Now I ask you for the last time to trust me. Release the Netherstones to me.
Do not forget, there's a card yet to come into play. The Orb. If we do not want to surrender the stones, we could still use it to ensure the brain's destruction. Along with my own, of course.
This is a risk we cannot take. Your hubris drives you even now. You failed before. I cannot trust that you will not fail again. You must trust me. Hand me the stones. Thank you. Now stand aside. I will assimilate the Githyanki's power in your stead. Do not judge me. Come, we must follow the brain's path. This time, we will not fail.
I think I'm going to be sick.
I can never unsee
Time to
that.
leave.
Gods. No sense dwelling on it. We made our choice, and we'll live with the nightmares.
I can't talk when we have a city to save, darling. At least the bits of it that are worth saving.
I think we're done here. I'll certainly be glad to see the back of it anyway.
We've a city to save. I think it's about time we got started.
Ready when you are.
We proceed together.
We can use stealth or force, just as long as we move quickly.
It's dark. Chris! You held the future of the people in your hands. How dare you take our prince from us? How dare you parade around this abomination? The heir's psionic cry shook the plains and marked his locus. I will avenge him. Silence. You've made your choice, and I've made mine. Tarzeth!
And we will lose more before the day is out. But even when the last soul falls, Baldur's Gate will stand. For Baldur's Gate is more than just a city. It is more than a place of opportunity for those of mercantile spirit. More than a place of refuge for those who are lost. More than a home for friends, loved ones, and adventuring souls. Baldur's Gate is a place where anyone can find what they need, if they're just willing to fight for it. Today, Baldur's Gate needs us. Today, we fight for... You're late, friend. This is the one you spoke of.
The very same. The champion we've been waiting for. The one who will save Baldur's Gate from ruin.
The Fist examines your illithid ally with suspicion. He was not expecting the savior of Baldur's Gate to be accompanied by a mind flayer.
Appearances may change, but they do not mask the one within. This one I know. Observe with whom it travelleth. Friends. This mind flare will fight with thee. It will save thy city and thy lives.
The Fist eyes your illithid ally with suspicion, softening to curiosity. His hostility melting at the recognition that there's more behind those eyes than malice.
My steel is yours, and I'm not alone.
I'm better at crafting steel than wielding it. Your friend here is armored and potion-fueled and ready for battle.
I have marshaled the best the Flaming Fist has to offer. We will fight to the last.
The Moon Maiden's silver light is a shield in dark times. Today, it is mine to wield. And I hold her sword.
Whatever strength I have to lend, I will lend it. I will make my city proud again.
You carried me once, friend. And now, I'll carry you.
You can count on me, little rabbit, and your squiddy friend. I thirst for the hunt.
I'm in the mood to crack some skulls after that fuckery in the Temple of Baal. The City Watch will be glad to oblige me.
Not sure what I have to offer a mind flare, if I'm honest. But I hope my words of encouragement and reassurance will strengthen your, resolve.
I want my city back. And I've brought the toughest bastards from the guild to get the job done.
My dark forces are at your command today. We have a common goal.
All the strength of the lands we healed flows through me, and from me to you. And whatever company you keep.
I wouldn't miss this for all the souls in the city. Call my name, and I'll bring the hellfire.
Nature's servant awaits.
Glad to have you with us, and not a moment too soon.
The air is thick with anticipation. All eyes are on you. They're expecting a speech, something to stir their hearts and put fire in their bellies for the fight ahead.
Well said. We'll prepare ourselves. We'll be ready when you call upon us. Balduran's grace be with you.
You feel a tickle of mirth in the Emperor's thoughts. If they only knew the truth.
Even I was surprised by how well the owlbear would take to the potions. Who knew we'd make it this?
Bodies, bloods, this is the dream. Knew I was smarts to sneaks in. The skelly boy said I could stay if I sold you stuff. So hurry up. Bye, bye, bye!
Making me sweat.
Can't afford to stay idle.
Seek and you shall find me. this now. Stop the Absolute and spare the city. The stage is set for my final act. Mystra's bidding and the redemption that lies beyond. You brought me right where I need to be. I have no right to ask more of you. It's time I spirited you to safety. For this is a fate I must face alone. What's the alternative? I allow the Absolute to have its way, die in vain along with all its victims, or flee and live on in shame? It's just a choice between two deaths. Quick and meaningful, or torturous and pointless. It's now or never. This isn't giving up. It's securing victory at a price I am willing to pay. And everything we shared can live on. With you. Please. For too long, I've lived in fear of taking a host of innocents with me when I expired. Now at least I can be assured my demise will be saving them instead. If you're mistaken, this could be the end of everything. We'll be failing right at the last hurdle. But I only made it this far thanks to you. Who am I to question such sterling guidance now? Mystra won't be pleased. But perhaps trying to please the gods is a fool's errand. Lead on, then. I shall stay my hand as long as I can. But if the tide of battle turns against us, remember I have the means to bring a swift end to this.
The crown. The very thing that has been amplifying the Netherbrain's power. And the very place that we will be able to dominate it. That's where we should use the Netherstones.
Well, that's just disgusting.
There you are. The rat catcher. Be paid alone. The false daughter of darkness. Shunned by her goddess. The wizard who defied a goddess. The fury of a verge. You are spectacular specimens. You will make spectacular thralls.
The crown! Cast the spell on it!
impossible. Pain! Fear! Terror! Reconsider. Assess. Implore. Surrender!
Subdued at last, it begs for its life.
Spare me. Join me. Wield me. Become absolute!
It pleads because it knows I am its master. I will finish this.
The brain is on the cusp of its final thought, and it's taking all of the Emperor's strength to keep it there. An opportunity, perhaps.
We could do it, you know. We could rule the world.
Nightmares and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn Illithids. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Your tadpole burns in your brain. Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity. Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
Victory. Our enemies are dust at our feet.
It's over. It's truly over.
Can't feel the tadpole. They must have all died with the brain. That means we can't turn into mind flayers. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with being a mind flayer, of course.
It makes little difference to me. I did what I had to secure my freedom. And in spite of your resistance to completing your evolution, you have proved a good ally. I'm glad you think so. I did my best.
Skvar, you may have succeeded, but I have failed. Gith's son is dead, and Vlaakith has abandoned me. I will be hunted by her Inquisition to the ends of the world. I must leave. I have nothing more to gain by being here. You, my ally, my peer.
It will be a restless life while the false queen reigns over my people. But a life nonetheless, and a free one.
Yes, I will stay. My destiny is for neither Vlaakith nor Orpheus to decree. It is mine. We fought well together. I will gladly fight with you again. If not the astral seas, then here, and wherever else we go.
A reprieve from the Githyanki invasion. For this day at least.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city. Smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Chiontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. The power of Karsus would be in my hands. But what then? What would I do with it once I have it? A wise suggestion. I felt a hubris once before and landed myself with this orb. Think I'd rather not make the same mistake again. If this adventure has taught me anything, it's that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. Besides, growing quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mistra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
Revelry? A grand notion. We've earned the right to an indulgence or two. But I leave the final call to our esteemed leader.
I will not be joining you. I fear my presence will be no more welcome in the streets of the city than it ever was.
Walk safely into the dark. You were truly tentacular.
I will miss you, too.
Now that you no longer live in each other's minds, it's hard to tell if the mind flayer is being sincere, though perhaps no harder than it ever was.
We did it, soldier. The city's going to be all right. And so are you.
Engine's finally cooked. Held on just long enough.
So, how'd I do? So are you, my friend, my companion. I adore you. Careful! Hot! I never gave up. I did my best. I did my best. It's the one thing I can't beat, isn't it? I wanted to live in my city with my friends. But life is for the living. And I saw... Goodbye, son. Goodbye, sea. Stand back. I'm going to...
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid Empire, no Death God's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate. Six months have passed since you defeated the Netherbrain. And since then, you have seen more of life than you ever thought possible. You are greeted as a savior, a champion, a hero. but sometimes you feel like something else entirely. An adventurer, a traveler, a survivor. You faced down the gods. You thwarted the grand design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
No more amnesia. I cannot remember the last time I heard the ballad of the endless spring before.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Oh, forgive me. I am simply excitable. It is good to be out under an open sky once more. My first, since the reconstruction began. We left quite a mess behind. But the city begins to look something like itself once more. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers. Same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon. Same cisterns overflowing. Huh. I knew an Everescan Greycloak who would say, Baldur's Gate will be the death of me. But I can't say it doesn't hold all of life. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city. But so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. The songs of my suffering will break hearts from here to the Hordlands, I am sure. Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way over.
I need a quick word.
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Always, my friend. But the villain I must needs slay today is my greatest yet. A deadline. You won't be surprised to find I'm soon to publish a little holiday read about our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? I, me, it's all Volo as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a royal inquisitor's head. Were it not for you, I might not have known the value of partnership, connection. I found new allies now. New friends. People I trust and who trust me in return. We've heard word of a Githyanki outpost hidden deep in Chult, the last of Vlakith's Sword Coast strongholds. We mean to slay every last Sarth and Kithrak. I thought perhaps you'd care to join us. You always did have a great fire in your belly. I'm glad to see you have kept it kindled. Now go, mingle while you can. That's the word, right? Mingle? There is plenty of time yet for slicing scalps and tasting blood.
Well, look who it is. My first and oldest friend. The last 6 months have been kind to you. Traveling far and wide, seeing all this world has to offer. A fine life indeed. Cazador's mansion has become my palace, and played host to every kind of banquet and soiree and masquerade imaginable. And of course, has seen its fair share of hedonism, clandestine deals, and the occasional disappearance. Whatever it takes to build up my influence over those who matter. I'm spinning my web. Power grows slowly, but I have nothing but time now. Rather wonderfully, actually. I've been making all sorts of new friends. They're the kind of friends that would see me burn the first chance they get. But that's all in the nature of the game, isn't it? But the important thing is I am doing wonderfully. Finally having a life that's worth living. And who knows what's next? There's an entire world out there, ready for the taking. Perhaps the next time we meet, we'll have grander conquests to toast. I did miss you, you know. There is a sense of loneliness that comes with power. We did share a wonderful adventure, you and I. And pity to see it end in some ways. But we have great new lives stretching out before us, and great new adventures to go on. I will never forget the time we spent together, though. And I know you'll never forget me. Until next time, darling.
With friends amidst nature.
But the forest is rather good.
What more could I wish for?
You could scream bloody murder out here and no one would ever know.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Decarius of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance. Well, that was quite lovely. I'm glad you're as pleased to see me as I am you. I have to say, I'm quite grateful to just be Gale for the evening. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mystra, to be more specific. She sought me out. Not long after, we went our separate ways, and assured me neither she nor the orb should pose me any threat in the future. Of course, it's still in there. A constant reminder of my former hubris. And a surprisingly effective means of keeping my more disobedient students in line. Perhaps a tad too effective. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils. Ah, so you still remember our little lesson. It was at that moment, the weave connecting us, that I realized how much your friendship had come to mean to me, as it still does. Teaching you was hardly an effort at all. Not like my present cohort of apprentices. Oh, they try their best, of course, when they can manage to stay awake. And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned? Quiet is not always peace. That much I can vouch for. But in your case, I think you deserve a moment's rest. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'd be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you. Excellent. I knew you wouldn't be able to resist the allure of sharing your expertise. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. I'm not entirely sure I'd agree. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Trudy. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poison blade to best me. Especially when I have a friend on the inside keeping me abreast of their predictable little plans. None other. The matter of her faith and allegiances remains complicated, let's say. But she is still my oldest friend. I have hopes that perhaps she might turn from Shar entirely given time. But that's a decision she will have to make for herself. If that day comes, I'll be ready. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. As am I. It's well deserved, and I dare anyone to argue otherwise. Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but At least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
Just to see what the rest are up to.
Gods, I must look a mess. I just rolled out from under a pesky ogre when Withers yanked me in. Oh, I didn't mean... Well, I didn't mean that. I just gutted the ogre, not... How about I change the subject before I dig this hole any deeper? It's so good to see you. And I've got so much to tell. The trolls I've torn open, the ghouls I've cleaved, the stories I've been itching to tell. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Stegosaurus that bullied Candle Keep, the impossible lich, or the young dragon who crawled out of Deeping Cave? There are tales galore of a great green dragon called Clogiliometer. Try saying that 5 times in a row. Clogiliometer, Clogilimuffer, Clogamother, whatever. Let's call it Old Gnawbone. Turns out, Old Gnawbone had kids. And one of them flew the roost and took to stalking a small elven enclave outside Crypt Garden Forest. The damn dragon had turned the place into a slave camp before I arrived. Sordid beyond words. He was a big boy, but still a young'un. A wonder of the skies, but a lumbering oaf on the ground. I tried a sly approach, but the whelp saw me coming and up it flew. Poison poured from its mouth as it descended. I tumbled away, cast flesh to stone, and it crashed to the ground. I could have ended the battle there and then. But this was prey that deserved to be played with. The beast was a smoking heap of black-green scales once the battle was over. The elves and I sang songs and drank mead in celebration until their barrels went dry. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the flaming fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. I wish you'd been there to join in. Oh, to battle together, just like the old days, I suppose that's my way of saying I miss you. Tonight, I toast not just the people we've become, but the people we were. Warriors, winners, saviors. She's kept her leash loose. Though, I've been no stranger to the hells. Every target she's set me on's been a demonic intruder. Tenari assassins who slip into Avernus. Armonites that amass near the Styx. My next mark's the most challenging yet. Or so she says. I don't know much more. Only that it's no demon, but a devil. She's playing a game. I don't know what it is or how she plans to win, but I can tell you this much. I'd fall on my own blade and join the blood war in an instant should Zariel's hell-touched fingers stretch towards the coast. And as long as I'm more useful as a warlock, that's not a risk Mazora would take. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine, for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
I will never get tired.
Spot of deja vu. Withers has laid out quite a spread of food.
I told you.
Comprising mostly of bone.
Fleshly support. Withers is well versed.
Perhaps he wishes to live vicariously through the attendees' appetites.
Oh, right. You. Hello. Yes, I'm certain it is. As for you, well, I've heard congratulations are in order. You helped Mr. Dekarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? That doesn't sound like him. But whichever way you want to remember it, well done, I suppose. You ought to come visit myself and Gale when you're able, if you can extract yourself from what I'm sure are very important responsibilities. We'll send word by pigeon when we've need of you. I used to have a taste for them, but a great many things have changed in recent months. Ta-ta, darling.
Just the same old chatter. Does no one here get drunk and spill secrets?
Thou feelst it still. She is not here. She who was the boldest. Hast thy thoughts been with brave Karlach often? Correct. Not in planes material, elemental, nor transitive can her like be found. In but 10 days, an entire life was lived. More than mortal years. Mortal centuries were hers. Thy band, thy bond, gave that life to her. In the fugue plane, her soul burns so bright, it pains the gods to look upon. Recall that in time all changeth and all is rejoined. Thou shalt be with her again. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready, for thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.